I love the name of the chapter in this book. It's called Pick a Pocket for Function or Fashion. And there really are two different things. But you know, I find a lot of you all tell me, well, I'm never going to wear that garment unless it has a pocket in it. Patch pockets are always an option. Always, always, always. But you need to remember it really doesn't need to hold your whole purse. That's not what the pocket is for. So I want to show you how to do a welt pocket. This is a single welt pocket, and it's a very, very simple pocket to do. I like it because it really does both function and fashion. So I have this jacket. You can see that it's a gray jacket, and when I turn it around, you can see that I have inserted a piece of black into that welt pocket, and that really accents the jacket. So I carried that black through to the zipper, teeth, tape, and I carried that through to the trim on the collar and around the armhole. So it's just a way to get you a little bit more pizzazz into the garment that you're doing. Now, how do you know where to put the pocket? Well, I'm going to give you a hint. Here's my waist right here. So that pocket needs to be about halfway between your waist and your hip area. But again, that's really kind of up to you. If you're going to put a pocket straight up and down, I would suggest you maybe start at your waist and go up. Because if you do like this, you can feel where that would be comfortable. And you're the designer of this garment, so you need it where it's comfortable to you. So let's go get your master pattern again. Let's hold it up to yourself in a mirror, and let's draw lines. And you can do it with those wonderful markers that disappear when you iron on them. So draw lines on your master pattern so you can kind of see where it is that you're going to go with that pocket. Because there's one thing that's really not very good, and that's to have a pocket in the wrong place after you've done a welt. So we don't want to do that. So we're going to take patternese, some of our patternese, and we are going to draw a box. How big is the box? I make mine about 6.5 to 7 inches long because I don't want a really, really long pocket. And you can see that's exactly what I've drawn here. Now the pockets can be 1/2 inch. The pockets can be even wider than 1/2 inch. Totally up to you. Now, once I draw one, then I'm going to fold my patternese in half and trace over what I just drew. So I have 2 pockets. Now that's if you want 2 pockets. Very seldom do I ever do one pocket on one side when it's a welt. I have done that when I've done patch pockets, but when I have welt pockets, I usually don't do that. So now you have one for either side. This is a great trick. Make your jacket, your t-shirt, whatever you're making, you're going to put pockets into, and actually pin it onto yourself so that you can see where those pockets are going to be. Again, I like you to have a visual before you cut a hole in your garment, so that would be nice to have. If you're going to do breast pockets, you want about half that size because you don't want a big long breast pocket. It would go into your sleeve seam. So we want to make sure that we have the pocket that we want before we start. So the next step is to take these boxes and you're going to pin them to your garment. And when you put pins in them, don't put pins this way. You want to put pins this way so you're ready to go. You want to make sure that they're in exactly the same place on both sides. And remember that trick that I did with the glue stick? And I had the patch pockets on both sides of the pants. You can do exactly the same thing with these boxes. So you want to make sure that they're both in the same level on both sides. Then you're going to stitch that box onto your garment. And when you stitch that box on, let me give you a hint. Never start in a corner. Always start in the middle of the box because the corner is what's really, that's what gets the most wear and tear. So be careful of the corners of your pocket. So I'm going to start in the middle. I'm going to go to the end, and then I'm going to count the amount of stitches that I take to get to the top row. Now the reason you're counting the amount of stitches is so that you can count the amount of stitches going down on the other side, and that keeps your pocket even, and you want to make sure that you do that. Now you can see that I'm making a jacket here, and this is what I'm putting into the jacket. I've made mine pretty wide because I want to show you the pocket that I'm putting into this. The pocket that I'm going to put into this has one of these wonderful big zippers, and I'm going to put a piece of black on the top of this. And let me show you the other side, and you can see, because I've already got this in the other side of the garment. Let me pull this up and show you how pretty this looks. Can you see that I've actually put a piece of black at the bottom of where the zipper is. And again, that's in there for detail. That's all that is in there for detail. So when I put this zipper in, I'm going to move it up just a bit because I already have the pocket stitched to it. So what I did was I just took a piece of black fabric. I did put French fuse on the back side of that black fabric. I folded it over and I stitched it already to the bottom of that zipper tape. So this is the top of the zipper, this is the bottom of the zipper. So this is the top of the pocket, this is the bottom of the pocket. So I'm going to have my box already stitched in there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors. Now let me give you a hint before I go any further. This garment, this jacket that I'm making, has French fuse on it. So I've really stabilized that area. But if you wanted to, if you didn't want to put French fuse all over a whole garment, you could simply take a piece of the French fuse and put it where that pocket's going to be. Now, if you're only putting this on for cute, it's a different story. But if you think you're going to use it, and most of us wind up doing that, I would suggest that you should secure it with French fuse. So I'm just going to make a clip in this. And I'm going to cut it this way, and I'm going to stop about a half an inch to the end, like this. And then I'm going to cut in the corners. Now the pictures in the book are great. They're big pictures, and you can see exactly what I'm doing. So can you see that I cut right into the corner, just like that? So I'm going to turn this around and do the other side. And again, I'm going to cut right into the corners. And don't be afraid, you need to clip right to that stitching. Now that's what that looks like, just like that. Now I'm going to get my iron hot here for just 1 second because I'm going to turn all of this to the inside. And this is what creates that hole. Now I've seen lots of directions for welt pockets, but I got to tell you, this is the easiest one you'll ever do in your life. So I'm going to turn all this to the inside. And then let me turn it over to the other side and show you exactly how I'm doing this. I have something to hold on to. When you just make a box and you make a box in your fabric, you have nothing to hold on to. But can you see I can pull this so that I have an absolutely beautiful box. Now let me press this real quick and I'll show you from the other side how nice this looks. And you have a perfect box. You want that nice and flat, so give that a really good pressing to make that box nice and flat. Now see the hole that you fixed? You got a hole in your jacket. Now let me tell you, don't panic if it's in the wrong place or something, because you could put a patch pocket over the top of it. I always say with my sewing and my techniques, there are no mistakes, there are only design opportunities. And a mistake would give you a design opportunity. Now you can see that hole because you can see the tablecloth is coming through it. Okay? So I'm going to press it again from the right side. So I pressed it from the wrong side, and now I want to press it from the right side. Now here's the deal with the welt pocket. All you have to do is fill up that hole. That's your goal, is to fill up that hole. So do you remember that I said to you that I'm doing this pocket a little bit different because I want it to show a little bit better on film? So I took a piece of fabric, I folded one edge over, and then I laid it on top of the zipper tape and stitched it on. So that's exactly what you're seeing right here. So when I fill this in, let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to lay my pocket down on a table. Now I'm working upside down, so you obviously would be working the other way. And I'm going to do this, just like this, all right? And I want that pocket, or I want that trim that I saw, to be at the bottom. Make sure that your pull is inside that hole. So let me pull this zipper just a bit and show you that it's inside this hole. Put this down in here. Okay, just like this. All right. So the top of the box is at the teeth itself, and the bottom of the box is showing some black. So that's exactly what it's going to look like. Let me smooth this out so that you can see that's exactly what it's going to look like. All right. Now you want to pin that. You can pin it. You can use steam a seam to finish it off, however you want to do. It doesn't matter. But you could pin it. And when you pin, you want to pin this way to hold that zipper and everything else right in that box. Okay? So of course I have one done by the magic of television. So let me pull that over here like this, and you can see exactly what I have done. Now there's the pocket. I'm going to show you that on the inside, and here's the pocket on the outside. And can you see that I have a pin in both sides? Now I'm going to take these pins out because I did this so that you could see better. So hold on one second. Let me get these out of my way. And you can see, now make sure that you have that pull, because you don't want to lose your pull. You want to make sure that you have something to pull. And since this is a knit, it's very easy to go around the edge of it. So what I've done is I'm going to lift this up and show you that I did not go to the inside of this at all. I simply top stitched right on the outside. That's why this is really easy to do. You don't have to turn anything over, anything like that. I really just top stitched, and that held the bottom of that pocket in place. Now you do the bottom first because we're going to flip this up and do the top last. So can you see that you may not be able to see that on film, but this is where I've top stitched. So you see a little bit of the black and a whole lot of the zipper. I'm going to turn this over and show you exactly where I stitched, and you may be able to see that just a little bit better. Now I'm going to take the bottom of the box, or the pocket, and pull it up right to the edge of that zipper, like this, and I will turn the whole thing over. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to top stitch. You don't have to turn anything inside. I'm going to top stitch right on the top of that box. My little pull wants to keep sneaking out. There we go. I'm going to stitch right on the top of that box. No stress, no nothing, just top stitch right on the top of that box. Now a lot of times what I have done, and you can do this too if you want to, is I've just used Scotch tape to tape that in place, and I stitched right over the Scotch tape, because you can pull Scotch tape right off after you've stitched it. Then you have to stitch the ends. So I'm going to go in here and turn this over because I think you can see it better against the patternese, and I'm going to stitch right over that edge. That's a little triangle, and then stitch straight down on the pocket, and you've got that side of the pocket done. Do exactly the same thing on the other side. And if you want to, you can cut away this patternese, but eventually after wearing it and washing a garment, it just disappears. But that's your single welt pocket, and it's simple, simple, simple to do. Next is the kangaroo pocket, and kangaroo pockets are called that because you have a pouch. And it doesn't matter what size you make. In the book, I've given you some suggestions for the sizes of the kangaroo pocket, but it's totally up to you. You can see in this jacket I've done a kangaroo pocket. It has a zipper down the center, so it's one on either side. But you could do a shirt that you had the kangaroo pocket all across the front. I've even put piping in mine, but that was just so you guys could see a little bit better. But it turned out really cute, so I put the piping on the pocket first. Again, you need to know where that's going. So what I'm going to suggest you do is to hold your master pattern up to yourself, look in the mirror. You want to draw the pattern for your kangaroo pocket, cut out the pattern, and then hold that up to you as well. Follow the directions, because basically all this is you turned over the edges and top stitch it in place. Kangaroo pockets really are fun, and they're functional, and they really do have a whole lot of fashion. There is a whole section on patch pockets. We can make them cute, you can make them long for your cell phone, you can make them short, you can make them functional, they can be small enough just to hold a credit card. Totally up to you. If you don't know where you want those patch pockets to be, again, I'm going to tell you, you've got this wonderful tool in front of you, use it. Hold your master pattern up in front of you and decide where it would look the best. Now I want to talk about breast pockets first, because breast pockets are only short versions of what is in this book. So you're not going to have a great big pocket, but you need to know where those are going to go. I would actually draw it out on your master pattern, look in the mirror, and make sure that you're fine with exactly where it's going to go. Now I'm going to show you some of these pockets in this jacket, but I have to tell you, I travel all the time, and I don't like patch pockets. To me, they're just bulky on something I don't need them bulky on, or I catch myself on them or something like that. So if you look at this really cute jacket, and this is like a linen jacket, I have pockets on this jacket, and this is I love this particular pocket, and in the book it's called the VIP pocket pattern, and you get the pocket and the directions and everything else, but it just has a piece of faux faux leather right on the edge of the pockets, but it is a patch pocket. Now, if you choose pockets like this, they literally going to disappear into your jacket. So that's one of the reasons that I like them. Let me put this up here closer so you can see it better. It's one of the reasons that I like them to have some detail like this, and I think this is a really cool detail. So again, follow the directions and you'll be golden. Now you're going to laugh at this, so you're not allowed to laugh because I do this all the time. I make pockets on the inside of my jacket. I put them on the inside of my jacket. And I put them on the inside of my jacket in wild colors because then I can find them quickly. I only make pockets big enough, and you can see that's exactly what this is, for my credit card or my ID or a couple of dollars so that I can put it on the inside of the jacket. It's a little bit safer on the inside of your jacket as well. I had a friend who traveled a lot, and she traveled internationally a lot, and so she put pockets and she actually stitched them into the armhole so that everything was right next to her as she traveled. So in this day and age, we need to think about security, but I think if you just put them on the inside of any of your garments, and you can add them to something that you already have. Now, it's nice when you do that because if you notice on here, I have only stitched that pocket to the facing, so that doesn't go all the way through to my jacket, so you don't have any stitching on the outside. Now, as far as a cell phone pocket, it's only a longer version of what I have right here. So they're all patch pockets. That's what they're called, are patch pockets, because they're literally just on the outside or the inside of your garment. I will give you one little hint, and that's going back to that fabric glue stick. Glue these pockets in place with the fabric glue stick. Try the garment on, because you don't want to go to all that trouble to stitch this on and be in the wrong place. Try that garment on. Keep in mind when you try it on that you are going to have a hem in this garment. So be careful how high or low you go. Again, I use my waistline as a guide as to where I'm going to put that patch pocket. Now, when you see the cell phone pocket in the book, you're going to see that we put it on the side of a pair of pants. And it's a really great place for that because you can get to it quickly. So try yourself some pockets for fashion and try yourself some pockets for function. I hope you enjoyed the video. Now it's time to check out the website. Everything is on there. You can purchase the pattern, the book, all the notions I talked about. You can join the Fit Club and check out the classes where I'm teaching. And be sure to follow me on Facebook.